Coronation Street is ramping up the drama next week, as revealed in our latest spoiler videos, with the long-anticipated comeback of a fan favorite on the horizon. We're talking about Bethany Platt, as actress Lucy Fallon makes her return to the ITV serial. If you've been counting down to her reappearance, you don't need to hold out until next week. We've got a sneak peek for you below. That's not all, though. Tension rises at the garage when Debbie Webster begins to suspect Abby Webster after making a discovery, while Carl takes drastic measures to cover things up. Meanwhile, Theo Silverton feels uneasy during a night out at a club with Todd Grimshaw, especially when Owen shows up, leaving him unsettled. For a preview of everything coming up, we've gathered 3 brand new clips showcasing next week's dramatic events on the cobbles. And on Wars, Monday, September 29th. Abby finds herself interrogated by a frustrated Debbie, who demands answers about why she had a keycard for a room at the Chariot Square Hotel. The dispute spills over into the garage, where Abby struggles to explain. Carl steps in, insisting Debbie is mistaken and that she's mixing things up about seeing Abby at the hotel. Abby is furious, slamming Carl's fabrication as heartless. Wednesday, October 1st. Theo urges Todd to enjoy himself and dance with friends at the club, but he's far from happy when he notices Todd spending time with James. Owen approaches Theo, clearly intent on talking, but it's obvious Theo wants no part of it and heads straight for the exit. October break-in. Friday, October 3rd. Kit is in high spirits, leaving Jess surprised. However, Jess has some important news that's bound to spoil his cheerful mood. She escorts him to the interview room to speak with a suspect involved in a stolen car case, and that suspect turns out to be none other than Bethany. Shock Coronation Street twist as character tip to uncover Theo's abuse revealed in early ITVX drop. Theo Silverton's treatment of Todd Grimshaw has been becoming increasingly troubling, with the builder clearly trying to dominate his partner. These days, Todd seems to live in constant fear of setting Theo off, especially after a chilling incident where Theo forced him to eat kebab meat. Theo lashes out over the smallest things, from Todd socializing with mates to leaving things out of place, and has even started making cruel remarks about Todd's looks and weight. Todd almost braces himself for Theo's temper, and he's even been taken aback when certain moments, like his court behavior, didn't push Theo into anger. Recent episodes have shown the situation worsening, with Theo warning Todd never to walk away from him. But it might not be Todd's closest friends or relatives who first spot the truth about Theo's abuse. In tonight's installment, viewers saw the couple fall into their usual cycle: Theo snapping, Todd arranging plans with friends, and then Theo persuading him to forgive him and stay in. After Theo apologized for mocking Todd's parenting skills, Todd canceled plans with George Shuttleworth and chose to spend the evening at home with Theo. When George explained to Christina Midgley that Todd had pulled out of their meetup to be with his beloved, she admitted she couldn't quite take to Theo. Christina recalled their flat-warming party and confessed she'd noticed a look in his eyes that unsettled her. Fans will remember Theo's anger after the guests left that night, furious they hadn't been alone in the flat as he'd wanted. With Christina already sensing that something about Theo's behavior is off, could she be the one to finally expose the abuse? Coronation Street actress recalls unforgettable moment with Allison King after life-changing diagnosis. Sally Dynevor has spoken movingly about a scene she shared with co-star Allison King that she says she will never forget, following news that changed her life forever. The soap star, best known for portraying Sally Metcalf, formerly Webster, has been a staple on the ITV cobbles since 1986 and is set to celebrate 4 decades in the role next year. Recently, the long-running cast member opened up about what it's really like working on one of the nation's most popular dramas, even revealing when her contract with Corey is due to expire. Chatting with Matt Lucas and David Walliams on their Making a Scene podcast, Sally admitted, "I'm only contracted for a year." When David clarified, 1 year at a time, she confirmed, yes, 1 year at a time. David then asked if the same applied to William Bill Roach, who has played Ken Barlow since Coronation Street's very first episode in 1960. Yeah, Sally replied. It's the same for all of us. You're always thinking, this could be my last year. When pressed on whether Bill felt that way too, she added, I'd imagine so. None of us are irreplaceable. There are always new faces and fresh storylines. During the same conversation, Sally opened up about her own devastating experience after she and her character were both faced with breast cancer. She received her diagnosis in November 2009. At that time, she was filming emotional episodes where Sally Metcalf discovered she had breast cancer, scenes that were painfully close to home. The storyline ended up having a profound impact on Sally beyond the cobbles. While filming the emotional plot, she was encouraged to speak with ITV's on-set nurse after she discovered a small lump in her breast. The lump, which she described as being no larger than a grain of rice, was enough to prompt her to seek medical advice, a decision that ultimately changed her life. When her doctor delivered the results, confirming that she did indeed have breast cancer, Sally was momentarily convinced there must have been some mistake, believing her real-life diagnosis had somehow been confused with her character's fictional storyline. The coincidence was so uncanny that she struggled to separate her personal reality from her on-screen role. In what can only be described as a cruel twist of fate, the devastating news was delivered to her on the very same day she had been filming a heartbreaking scene in which her on-screen husband was told of Sally Metcalf's diagnosis. For the actress, the overlap between fiction and reality was almost unbearable, making the moment one of the most surreal and unforgettable of her career. Reflecting on that period of filming, Sally explained to Matt and David, I returned to work just before starting chemotherapy and filmed a scene with Allison King, who plays Carla. It's something I'll never forget. My character, Sally, had to break the news that she'd been diagnosed with breast cancer, while in reality, everyone around me already knew I'd be taking 6 months off to begin treatment. The cast and crew were aware I was about to start chemo. It was the most surreal scene I've ever done. The set was silent. You could hear a pin drop. Nobody spoke unnecessarily. Notes were passed to me in whispers so I wouldn't lose focus or become too emotional. Somehow, we managed to get through it, and then I stepped away for half a year. Sharing the podcast clip alongside the actual scene, Fake TV Chef posted on X. Sally Dynevor appeared on Making a Scene and talked about filming with Allison King right after learning of her cancer diagnosis. Here's the mass clip and the scene they shot. Carla and Sally, both tough as nails. Fan Mai added, Ali and Sally are absolute pillars of the show. This storyline resonated with me and so many others. The performances were outstanding. That scene still carries the same emotional weight as it did back then. Coronation Street continues to air Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with episodes available from 7 a.m. on ITVX and YouTube.